Hi, and thank you for joining me. I understand that you're busy, so I'll keep this presentation short. My name is Erica Pugh, and I'm the owner of Income Reinvented, a financial literacy firm that helps students understand the impact of student loans on their future income and find ways to limit the amount they will need for college. So why is this necessary? Just briefly, if you think back over your own college experience, when you were applying for college or filling out the FAFSA or figuring out how you were going to pay, how was that conversation for you? Who talked to you about where you would get money from or how you would repay it or how student loans worked? Who talked to you once you got to your institution in financial aid? Who explained to you how student loans will work? Who explained to you how it would affect your money after you graduate? If your experience was like mine, you really didn't get a lot of information. Instead, you filled out the FAFSA, filled out your master promissory note, and that was pretty much the end of it. There wasn't really hands-on help with understanding, especially for an 18-year-old. There wasn't a lot of information explaining how this would affect our future. And the same for our students today. Most students do not understand the impact of student loans, so they don't really understand what they're signing up for. At a recent workshop, 22 out of 27 students expect to pay for college on their own with no help from parents. So that means that there are 22 18-year-olds out there that are getting ready to go to school. Some of them have part-time jobs. Some of them don't work at all, but they're trying to figure out how they're going to come up with a few $1,000s to pay for college. And on top of that, of those 22 students, none of them knew how much their next semester would cost. So in essence, these students are pretty much prepared to take out student loans with an undetermined amount because most don't know how much their college career or their college semester will cost them, regardless if it's tuition, room and board, books. That information they're not aware of. So who do we help? We help students who are interested in college, those already in college, parents confused by the funding process, and also schools that are on tight budgets but want to provide financial literacy and college readiness to their students. We understand that in most school districts, most schools are underfunded and overworked. So our organization comes in to specifically talk about college funding. The goals of our organization are to help people understand student loans. We want them to understand the impact student loans will have on their future income because that's pretty much what student loans are. They help you go to college while you don't have the money, and then once you graduate and assumably find a job to cover that money, then you start to pay it back. We want students to understand college-related costs and find ways to reduce what they're going to pay out of pocket, learn to use technology and social media to create income, and then also help them begin saving for college versus relying on student loans. And since, especially focusing on the social media and technology, most students are on their phone each day anyway. Why not use that platform in order to create income that could go towards their college career versus just wasting time? So what would some of the benefits of this be? Students will benefit by learning to make sound financial decisions, and that's really important because most of our students are not familiar with money. We have a lot of parents and adults that don't really know how to manage their money or don't fully understand student loans. So it's understandable that our high school seniors or high school students at all don't fully understand what they're getting into, whether it's student loans or managing their money in general. We help them benefit by limiting the amount of student loan debt they incur, and that helps them avoid the stress related to student loan repayment. There are so many people in default, going through garnishments, having their credit scores decreased, all because they can't afford to pay back the loans they took out while they were in school. And then lastly, they'll benefit by learning to use social media to create income. As we discussed before, most students are on their phone each day anyway, so that time could be used to benefit their college funding process. However, the institution will also benefit. Your students will be prepared for life after high school, more than just being prepared for college because they have good grades or good scores on their tests. But be prepared when it comes to dealing with money, whether they're working, having an internship, taking out student loans. We want them to understand what they're getting into. We help them avoid the student loan crisis. Again, there are so many people who went to college to create a better life for themselves. However, they're still kind of stuck in poverty because they can't manage their student loan payments. And all of us know after graduating college, student loans are not the only payments that we have. We have car notes, mortgages, rent. We may have children who have extracurricular activities. So all of this information is definitely beneficial for your students to know and will help them come out ahead. Your institution will receive educational support focused on college funding. And we aid guidance counselors with their college readiness efforts. We read an article the other day that talked about it's common for there to be a 1 to 250 student ratio to guidance counselors. So one person is supposed to be responsible for a minimum of 250 students. At some schools, it's more. But if you have that many students that you're responsible for on a daily basis, outside of your other administrative tasks, it leaves very little time to focus on the college process in general, let alone going in depth with each individual to help them understand what they're getting into and help them find ways to avoid it. So partnering with our organization, we come in and specifically focus on those things to make sure your students have both the financial literacy education that some schools are missing, and then also help them limit the amount of student loan debt they incur. So how do you participate? Our program is a membership site, and students receive access to it for $37 on a biweekly basis. Our membership will provide them with an understanding of student loan debt, help them reduce college-related costs, help them turn a hobby into income using social media and other technological tools, and then help them limit or eliminate the need for student loans altogether. We also have the availability of live presentations and workshops, and they're based on student participation. Depending on how many students you have signed up from your school, you'll receive a live presentation or a workshop, again, based on the amount of participation. So you see here, with 50 students, you get an hour presentation per month. So each month, with at least 50 students participating in the membership program, we will come out to your school and give a presentation on financial literacy, student loans, debt, interest, buying a first car, credit reports, anything along that nature every month to make sure the students are engaged in understanding how to handle money and how it will affect their future. For those who have 100 students participate, we'll come out 2 hours each month, and those 2 hours can be in a single session, the whole 2 hours in one day, or it can be split up to an hour every 2 weeks, whatever the school decides. The same for 200 students. You increase to 3 hours of live presentations or workshops per month. And then anyone or any organization that has more than 300 students, we would discuss the amount of presentation time you would get based on the amount of students you have participating. And again, those hours can be grouped into one large workshop per month for you guys, or you could break it down to have so many hours per week or every 2 weeks, however the school decides. I thank you so much for your time. Again, I want to reiterate, our organization is simply just trying to educate students and parents on student loan debt. From my experience going to college, this information was not fully explained to me. And if so, that would have decreased the amount of student loan debt I would have taken out. So we definitely want to make sure our students in this next generation understand what they're getting into and take advantage of any of the resources available to help them limit or eliminate the amount that they need. Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate you joining me today.